boom. And this is one with an echo. Boom, 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 boom. Number one receiver in the country, class of 2027, out of Brother Martin High School in New Orleans, Louisiana. Easton Royal has committed to the University of Texas. Not only is he an electric player, he's one of the fastest guys in the country with a 10.38 100-meter time. Now, he is class of 2027, so he won't be able to sign until next year. But CJ, he was at the game last night for the Longhorns, obviously impressed. Second time he's been to Austin this month, also attended for the Vanderbilt game. But look, I've watched the film on this guy. There's a reason he's ranked the number one wide receiver in the country.
Absolutely electric speed. That's what you're getting with Easton Royal. Probably, Bobby, we talked about it a little bit. Probably the fastest receiver Texas will have committed or have signed since Xavier Worthy. Matthew doing a great job pulling up the tape here. Just watch how quickly he gets off the line of scrimmage. He gets downfield. Big play waiting to happen. Obviously, the hands there. My goodness, he's a special player. But Texas did a great job here because he was offered in the middle of May, had not been to Texas previously. Texas wanted to get him in over the summer. They did not. And then 2 visits in the month of November. And here we go with December coming up in a couple more sleeps, Bobby. He says, I want to be a Texas Longhorn, and that's a heck of a start to the 27 class.
It really is because, look, a lot of people thought that Texas was not really in yet on 2027. So this took people by surprise. But Easton Royal, the latest commitment, he has elite track speed. His stats for the year, CJ, 53 catches, 1,150 yards. So that's a clear 20-yard plus per catch and 17 touchdowns. But like you said, it is that long speed of Easton Royal that really catches your attention. He's quick off the line, just tremendous all-around player. CJ, you went and saw him in person earlier this year. What did you see in person that you were just like, whoa, this guy's a little bit different?
Well, it's exactly what you're talking about, the long speed, but also the sudden burst and acceleration. I got to see him very, very briefly in a spring practice. They were working out in the backfields of Brother Martin, and, it's a hot, humid day. And he said, look, I'm ready for it. I'm pumped. I get to play football today. Regardless of the weather, I get to go out there and play the game that I love. He's a great kid, too, getting to sit down and talk with them. I said, hey, in our little sit down, I said, how's it feel being a 5-star this early? Did you know that? And he goes, what does that mean? What's being a 5-star mean, Bobby? And I said, wait a minute. You're one of the best players in the country. He goes, hey, that's cool, I guess. It doesn't really bother me. Well, heck of an athlete, heck of a person. Brother Martin, obviously a great program down there in New Orleans as well. But the burst, the acceleration, and the hands too. He's not just a guy he's making the referee fall down there. He's not just a guy that is a fast guy, right? The hands are something I think you'll see on display the more that you watch his tape. But this continues, and Mr. Howard, I see you in the chat here. It continues that New Orleans push that Texas has been trying to really try to stick a flag in recently. He's the next one coming out of New Orleans to Austin.
Hey, I was going to say, last night, a New Orleans native led the Longhorns to a victory over rival Texas A&M 27-17. CJ, you mentioned going into New Orleans. Obviously, a lot of people are going to say, well, look, LSU doesn't even have a coach yet. What does this mean? Is this commitment going to stick? But it seems like this is a situation where Texas has been recruiting him for a while, and this is one that he chose Texas with the knowledge that Lane Kiffin, likely the next head coach in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting, right? If Kiffin is that LSU coach, what push does LSU make? One thing I will add, my conversation in the spring, and of course this could change, my conversation in the spring didn't lead me to think that Royal was, blindly led to the loyalty of LSU and New Orleans and the state pride there. He's a guy that grew up spending a lot of time in Florida. He mentioned actually his favorite schools growing up were the Florida schools. He played a lot of travel football earlier on in his football career in Florida, going down Orlando, Jacksonville, Miami. He did the whole tour. So I don't think LSU is going to have that inside track that you normally would expect with top-tier Louisiana talent. Now, that could change, right? Kiffin comes in perhaps We'll see what push they will make, and surely there will be one. But right now, this is a fantastic job by Texas, getting out early, earning that commitment. And look, if you're able to build around a guy like this, you're doing something right in the 27 class.
Yeah, and I'm sure as Hayward Howard's dad's in the chat, he would agree. This is a difference maker kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason he's the number one wide receiver in the class of 2027. He has electric speed, not just and you said it the right way. He doesn't just have long speed. He doesn't have just ride out speed. He has quick speed in the over 5 to 10 yards, just like Xavier Worthy did, right? CJ, he may be a better contested catch guy than Xavier Worthy. That's here to be seen, because he made a couple already in this highlight film as well. CJ, last night, big for recruiting as well. Jamarian Carlton was back on campus, the big defensive lineman out of Temple. He's currently committed to Baylor, but we think Texas might have an opportunity to flip him. Texas lost a commitment last night. Max Wright, a big offensive lineman out of Melissa, Texas, flipped from Texas to SMU. Texas is doing some work in the overtime work right now to get another offensive lineman possibly in this recruiting class. We will have more on that a little bit later. But where do you see recruiting right now, not only in 2026, this current recruiting class, but peeking into 2027? Do you think this means Texas is getting ready to really start going after it in 2027? Leading into junior days in the month of January coming up?
I absolutely think so. And they took a number of massive swings last night and against Arkansas as well. Look, they had the number one player in the country, according to 24/7 Sports, on campus. That's DJ Jacobs coming out of the East Coast. You don't find edge rushers like DJ Jacobs very often. And when you do, they end up looking like Colin Simmons. And we've obviously seen how successful and how impactful Colin Simmons has been for the Longhorns. Marcus Facaltau coming in from Orange Lutheran in California as well, a top 40 player in the country. Texas taking some big-time swings on the defensive line. And I go back a week ago. Look, Julian Caldwell out of Argyle back on campus. They obviously had a number of wide receivers too, but tight end, very important. Jackson Dollar coming in from North Carolina. Brock Williams coming in from Illinois. Bobby, it's taken a little bit for this 27 class to get going, but they're full swing, and they're full swing across the country going from coast to coast, and obviously dipping down into the boot. That's going to help as well.
It's interesting how they used Arkansas for a lot of 2026 recruits, and then they used A&M, a single day visit for the juniors, the 2027s. Maybe that's something we look forward to in the years to come when they play A&M over Thanksgiving weekend in Austin. Interesting idea there, and use of visits by the personnel staff at the University of Texas. Brandon Harris, Chris Gilbert, Jamal Fenner, and John Michael Jones, those guys all doing good job. Aaron Joe as well. Look, the reality of it is you're winning games right now with good teams and with difference makers.
Yep.
Texas last night had a difference maker in Arch Manning, and they put it together on the field with an all-together team effort. Is this the kind of guy you need to win big, not just in the SEC, but to win big? This is a guy that, frankly, Ohio State's been getting to their roster at wide receiver.
I absolutely agree. Look, Texas has recruited and they've signed some really, really talented wide receivers over the last few years. This is a guy that probably tops the list for me in terms of excitement and overall top-end potential, just because of the speed, because of the hands, because of the body control. Y'all have all pointed it out in the chat. There's not been a guy that Texas has recruited that's been on campus for multiple years, right? I think Matthew Golden obviously possessed all three as well. You got 1 year out of him, but you don't have that trio of skill sets coming out of high school. I think Ryan Wingo shows a little bit of that. Obviously, you'd like to see a little bit more consistency there, but this was one coming out of the spring where, getting to see him in person, I said, man, I wonder if Texas really goes after him, because if they do, that's a heck of a get. And sure enough, get him on campus twice in November, and he ends up committing today, November 29th. But, Bobby, the thing is this. You can have all the intangible. You can have all the traits, right? Doesn't matter. But if you produce at the way that he does, and look, 17 touchdowns and 55 receptions, he's got 4 rushing touchdowns and 22 attempts. That's fantastic. 1 touchdown every 3 catches, 1 rushing touchdown every 5 touches. That is elite production to go with his skill set. I think it's a fantastic get.
Yeah, I tell you what, it doesn't hurt probably that last night Easton Royal saw Xavier Worthy on the sideline, correct? As well as a New Orleans native, Baron Sorrell, now with the Green Bay Packers, also on the sideline. But Easton Royal, your latest Texas Longhorn, like I said, this is a big one. It is a big, big boom. No doubt about it, because this officially marks the entrance, in my opinion, to the class of 2027 for the Texas Longhorns. Now they're ready to roll after they get through this 2026 class. We'll see more and more of this probably throughout December and into January for Steve Sarkisian and crew. All right, CJ, thanks. Glad you got a chance to go see him in person earlier this year. I know you're going to make a stop now over in New Orleans in the springtime as well. For CJ Vogel, I'm Bobby Burton. And one last note, for Easton Royal, hook 'em horns, buddy.
Hook 'em, Easton.